Hey, good to have you back. If you're new, welcome. This is the Saluki Standards Podcast, and I'm your host, Connor Onion. Saluki women's golf coach Danielle Kaufman is this week's guest. She's coming right up. But first, before we get rolling, quick non sequitur. If you're dining out, we encourage you to try McAllister's Deli in Carbondale. They're on East Main Street. And if you're a big fan of sweet tea, you'll certainly be a big fan of McAllister's Deli's sweet tea. Okay, so Danielle Kaufman, hired by SIU in the summer of 2018, and one of the themes throughout our conversation is just how fast of a study she is at multiple spots throughout her life, but that especially popped up at SIU. Her first spring as the head coach, the Salukis won the 2019 Missouri Valley Conference title, and she was the first coach in school history to be named the Coach of the Year in the conference in her first year as the head coach. 2020, of course, cut short, coronavirus, but the positive is, hey, Saluki women's golf, they're still the champs.
That's actually one of the first things the girls said when we were trying to talk about positivity after the whole coronavirus canceled our season. We all kind of laughed and said, well, I guess we're still the champions, right, Coach? And I said, yes, we are. So, definitely, we're still the defending champs. So, we're ready to get back out there.
Obviously a banner season for so many reasons for you and your team. First conference title in 12 years. Your first year as a Division I college head coach. For you individually, why do you think you were able to succeed so fast and win that title right away?
It's all about making the relationships with your team. I think that we all clicked really well. I mean, I can't say that at the beginning, we're all new to each other. So there's a lot of learning and a lot of learning curves and a lot of trust that we had to, gain during the fall season of my first year, that is. And I think that whenever they knew how much I cared about the program and the girls, I think they clicked when it came to, my philosophy. And mine was completely different, from the previous coach. And so there was some adjustment, but I think overall that my passion for the sport and how much I cared and I would do anything for them. And just like I said, just kind of clicked and we clicked all at once and they trusted me. I trusted them. And like I said, once they realized my philosophy and they believed in it, that was the key, believing in the philosophy I was trying to teach them. And one of the biggest thing was short game. We sometimes we wouldn't even pick up a driver. We'd spend 3 hours just on wedge game and they'd get a little frustrated, but then they realized they'd go out in the golf course like, wow, I struggled today, but I got up and down everywhere. So again, just believing and trusting the process.
So it sounds like it was pretty immediate that they trusted you. And, was it as soon as the summer when you got hired or in the fall when you finally got your hands on that it happened?
It happened more, I would say, when I felt it anyways, probably middle of the fall season, which to me, seems pretty quick. I think that, again, it took some adjustments just to get to know me, my personality, their personality and what our goals are and who's all in and things like that. So, and it helps too that these girls, every single one of them were extremely hard workers. I can't say how hard they work. I mean, it's unreal. I mean, I finished practice and then I go in the locker room and come out and they're still out there. So that was awesome for me just to show how much, they wanted it. And that was another reason they all wanted the championship. And when you have a full team that won it, it makes it a little easier on the coach, of course. So, I think we clicked pretty early for sure.
Just being around Lingle Hall and seeing you and talking to you a little bit the last couple of years, you've got a fun personality, and
I can be a little goofy from time to time. You gotta make some people laugh sometimes. You gotta have some laughter in your life, and I believe that, and I do that with my girls too. Also frustrating sometimes, and if you can't get yourself to laugh a little bit, you're gonna struggle a little bit. So
how did they take to your goofy personality at first? Because sometimes a coach can be viewed as this authority figure that might not have as much fun as you have sometimes.
Well, they knew the right times and the wrong times. Same with me. I mean, when it was practice time, it's practice time. We had our before and we have our after conversations where we can do a little bit of joking and just talk just about anything. I'm always there for them, personally or whatever it is, that they need. I mean, it's not just golf related. And I mean, it's just a relationship where we all have, we have to have fun together and we have to be able to laugh a little bit. But yeah, I mean, it's a more before and after thing. And not to say if somebody does something, funny in practice, we're going to laugh about it. That's just that, again, that's me. And that's, the girls like that. But for the most part, yeah, the beginning, we'll chit chat for, a good 10 minutes. And then once it's time to practice, it's practice time. And then we focus and we get it done.
You were hired in your early 30s. Do you think it helps that you're, not too far removed from, being a college athlete to relate to them?
Yeah, I think that it does. I think that I can relate pretty well to these kids. I still sometimes struggle to, just because when I was in college, I'm thinking, this is what I did or this is how I acted. But no, overall, I think that, I think that we can relate pretty well. And I think we all have an understanding with each other. And the biggest thing is they know they can come to me for anything, good, bad, or like I said, personal issues, anything, and that's when I want to bring to the kids, not just, helping with them in their golf game but in life. I always want to be there for them. And that's something that Diane did for us. So I kind of grabbed that from her. And even my assistant, Denny Courtcamp, he's the same way. We have the exact same philosophy. That's why he and I click so well as coaches. And, we're just all good for each other. So
you win the championship your first year. Now 2019, 2020, this past season, how do you think your group handled the success of having that label of champions and trying to do it again?
They loved every bit of it. Absolutely. I mean, again, this group never once didn't think they can do it. And that's the same with me. Like all year, they wanted to call themselves ring chasers. I was fine with that. Let's do it then. If you're going to call yourself that, we got to go and do it. So, they just took it and ran with it. And after we won, I mean, they're humble, they're awesome, and talked about it all the time and still talk about it all the time. We go over every hole and situations that we went through, and, a lot of strategizing the golf course. But yeah, they're excited, and still to this day, they're excited. So, cause like you said, we're still defending champs. So
there was no level of complacency after you won a championship, was there?
No.
No. You also added a pretty talented piece this past year. Ayana Annibale was named the newcomer of the year this past year as a freshman. You succeeded fast. Now you've helped her succeed fast. Why do you think it happened quick for her in her freshman year?
Ayana has some of the best talent at a young age that I've seen in a long time. She just has a really good golf game, and she's got a really good instructor that she's went to in Dallas. Carlos Brown is his name. And he had worked with her before I got a hold of her, and she's just talented, and he also is too. And just the things that he's done with her and got her ready for the college level. I mean, as a freshman, I mean, it was unbelievable. And honestly, like, she averaged a 76.69, but she had a really bad round during our Missouri Valley preview, and that's only because she was really sick. I mean, she was really sick. She had a fever, and she, of course, she didn't tell me. So she tried her best just to play the best she could. And but if she wasn't sick, I mean, her average would be quite a bit lower, to be honest. So, and it's still good. I mean, for a freshman, that's unbelievable. So, no, I'm super proud of her. I'm super proud of the work that she puts in over the summer, and just comes out. And when she tees it up, she tees it up. and she's ready. And that's what I love most about her is she's ready. Like, she's ready no matter what. Right when she tees up to the first tee, she's ready to go, and it's golf the whole time. I mean, it's focus. She's driven, and it's fun to watch. And I can't wait to see what else she can do, the next 3 years.
The stuff of legends playing a flu round.
Yeah, I know, right? I know it was crazy. I mean, I could just tell in her eyes that she wasn't feeling good. And finally, I think there's 3 holes left, and she's like, "Yeah, I think I might have a fever." I'm like, "Yeah, you look like you don't feel very good." So, but I know how that is. I did the same thing when I played. I mean, you want to play so bad that you'll kind of grind through anything.
You had 2 seniors on last year's team. You'll get Erica Kerr back. Lilly Collector has graduated. How difficult was the conversation with Lilly once your guys' spring season came to an end, and knowing that I offered her to come back, and I think for her, she was just ready to kind of move on and start her career, which is very understandable. And she had some injuries that I think put her back a little bit, and probably was discouraging. So, but overall, if you look at her in conference, she was my all-conference player. She played hard that day, and she's a good golfer. And like I said, I think she just decided that she was just kind of ready to move on and start the work life. So, and then I know she's considering going to grad school too as well. So, but I think she's just really wanting to focus on her career right now. And her and I have a great relationship, and I'll always be there for her. So, yeah. That's obviously a big loss, but lots coming back. You guys are
definitely. I got a lot coming back. I've got, if I can get my internationals in, that is, Connor. So that's the goal right now. I'm struggling with getting my international kids in. So I've got 2 girls from Thailand and 1 from Czech Republic. So I think those girls are going to be really good for our program if I can get them in. And then I got a girl from Texas and a couple of walk-ons. So I got a lot of kids coming in.
Oh, that's exciting. That's exciting. Is this the life that you're leading right now? Is this something you always had in mind? Did you always kind of work toward this goal of becoming a Division I college golf coach?
Yeah, absolutely. And I've probably mentioned this before, but one of the biggest things for me and how golf became so big in my life was I had some bad injuries in high school with my legs. And I actually really, I loved basketball. I love softball. I really love softball. Like at that time, probably in high school, I thought, okay, I'm going to go play softball, whatever level that takes me. Then I started developing some really bad leg pain about my junior year of high school. And then come to find out later on, my senior year, I have Compartment Syndrome really bad. So running just wasn't my go-to anymore. And it was pretty devastating. And I played golf, but I didn't take it necessarily as serious as the other sport because I played those for so long. And golf was only introduced to me probably just a little bit when I was maybe in 7th grade, but I really didn't start taking it somewhat serious till high school. So I didn't have as much experience as I did with softball and basketball. So I thought I was a little bit behind when it comes to golf and where I should go with it as a player. And then I realized, that's kind of the sport I'm going to have to play now since my legs are so bad. And once I started playing it, and I'd be there night and day, day and night, whatever you want to call it. And I grew to love it. It kind of saved me, I guess you could say. So from that day on, I knew that was going to be a part of my life forever, was golf. So I started off doing pro jobs like those, but I knew there was something more I wanted to do, and I wanted to teach, and I want to be a part of a team because I'm very competitive. So I knew that coaching was my thing. And I did all kinds of coaching. I started coaching with basketball and Wayne Hari and Nashville and did some JV softball coaching. And then I was the head coach at Nashville High School at golf. And then the more I started coaching, the more I realized I think golf is my thing, as in coaching. And I just loved it. I just loved every bit of it. And I love teaching it. And I love going out and winning championships. So
you got a couple of those. But I want to back you up a little bit. You said you got compartment syndrome or were diagnosed with compartment syndrome in high school. Mm-hmm. how the heck do you go on and play 4 years of college golf after that diagnosis?
It was actually kind of rough. There's some tournaments I had to kind of bow out, and actually because the hillier courses, we didn't have those pull carts like they have now. So I was still carrying my bag. And there's probably 2 tournaments I couldn't make it. I'd start with, 9 holes, and my legs would go numb, and there's nothing I could do about it. So I'd have to quit. So it was rough, and it was still hard, but most of the time I got through it. And then when I went to Rend Lake, Cindy Korn was my coach, and she fought for me to have a cart during nationals. And that was very helpful for me, because I don't think I could have walked 3 days in a row, 4 days in a row for counting the practice round. So that was helpful. And then I had surgeries. I've had 2 surgeries now. So the second surgery actually helped me quite a bit more, to be honest. And I'm able to walk with my kids on the golf course now. Now I have to take breaks from time to time. But I can walk for the most part. I feel so much better the second surgery as I did the first. He did a little bit more for the second surgery. Kind of released a little bit more because I wasn't getting any blood flow going on. So yeah, I mean, it is what it is. And I'm a firm believer that the injury took me where I am today. So.
Yeah. How do you think the diagnosis of compartment syndrome, how do you think that altered the course of your life?
It did in every way. Cause like I said, I loved running sports. I loved to run. I was actually fairly fast, and I'm not at all anymore. I can't even run a mile. I laugh about it now because I just know I can't. But no, it was devastating. It was probably devastating for a couple of years because I just couldn't get past it, and I still would kind of try to, run a little bit or do here, and I was just like, no, I can't. So, but it's okay. And like I said, I'm very happy with where I am in my life and where it's led me, and I'm glad to be here at SIU, where I graduated and where I played for Diane, and carry on that legacy.
Did you know that Southern Illinois University awards students $10 million annually in scholarships, has test optional admission, and in-state tuition for all U.S. residents? SIU offers hands-on, career-focused learning in every major, which are supported by internships and community service and the potential for study abroad and more. Southern Illinois has faculty who bring real-world experience to the classroom and the classroom into the real world. See what SIU can do for you at the next open house. Registration and info at siu.edu/open house. Exploring options. That's a Saluki. You had brought up the national tournament when you were playing in junior college. I had read, I need you to confirm this, whether or not what I read is true. Did you have a hole-in-one at that first national tournament?
Yeah, I slam dunked it, Connor. Yep. See, so I still bring a little bit of my other sports in there. I basketball there. I did. It went straight in the hole.
Wow. No bounce?
No bounce.
Oh,
I slam dunked it. Yeah.
Wow.
So, I heard it, hit the bottom of the cup pretty hard. I'm like, oh gosh, sometimes when you hit, the pin or something and ricochets and it's off the green, and my mom's screaming and jumping and she's like, it went in the hole. So yeah, that was a pretty cool moment. Not a whole lot. I think I might've been the second or third that's done that at the national championship at the JUCO level, that is. But yeah, that was a really cool moment for me.
Is that your one hole-in-one, or do you have more?
I've got, 3. I've got that one, and then the other ones were more like during practice and stuff, but not in a tournament. That was the only one in a tournament. So I guess that would be the only one I kind of claim the most. But yeah, just practice-wise, I've had a couple more.
They all count.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, one of them that I had, I was playing by myself, and I looked around, and I'm like, thank goodness there was somebody working in the bunker behind me. I was like, somebody saw it so they would believe me. So
you got to get it authorized.
I know, right?
Yeah. Well, you played as a college athlete 2 years at Rend Lake, 1 year at SIUE. What ultimately led you to play for Coach Daugherty in SIU in 2007?
The reason I came to SIU is Diane. Absolutely. And of course, the university always, in my mind was a great place to go. But to play golf, it was definitely because of Diane. She is so good she was so good with us on the team. And again, I try to take her same traditions, and it's all about the experience you give your kids and what you can do for them, to make them better people and better golfers and all the above. So she was the big reason. She, around here, us golfers, young golfers, we knew that if we could play for Diane Daugherty, we could be the best we could be.
How much did you know about her when you were growing up just down the road in Nashville?
Oh, the name? Oh, you knew it right away. You're like, where is she? Is she out here on the golf course somewhere? You knew if you heard her name that she's big time. So, and she probably love that I say that on here because she knows she's big time. So.
I've seen you or heard you say that you've learned a lot from her, especially about the mental game when you played for Diane. What specifically did you learn about the mental game from playing for her?
We talked about all different types of things, but, she was really good about taking our mind off of a bad shot. I remember coming off of a really bad hole and getting onto the par 3, and somehow she distracted me from being so upset. And then that's just the way she was. She was so good about just being able to get you to take your mind off things and being able to focus on what you really need to focus on in the moment. And then I went and birdied the next hole. So she was just so good about transitioning players from getting upset to the positive side of it and being able to get them to focus right back in. She had me I was so upset to immediately right back on target. So, and that's a little bit of, what I do. Definitely. I whether it's just sitting there, next to the kids and talking to them, in between holes or walking with them during the holes and just talking about the golf shots and things like that instead of talking about what just happened. So she was really good about that, and we carry that on.
How much truth is there to this? As a golf coach, you're kind of half technical or swing coach, half psychology coach.
All of it, Connor. I don't know if it's half and half. It depends on the kid, to be honest. Some is 80% mental and the rest is, mechanical. But again, it depends on the kid. But to me, it's all mental. And if you can't get the mental side figured out, it's so hard to be able to be good mechanically. And I don't really like for them to think mechanical on the golf course. They should be ready to go as soon as they tee it up and be thinking only about, that hole and that shot, one shot at a time. So, but yeah, it is. It's just so mental. It really is. And especially at this level, and get your emotions going, and it's hard to get back out of them. So, and we have a few of them that kind of struggled with that. And it's really, really hard when they get to the point of being emotional, because when you're that far into that being that upset, it's hard to get back and focus. So, but we're doing a lot better. And I think that a lot of them have learned from those situations. And I think that they are a lot stronger as a player just because they went through those situations. So,
as a coach, do you have to read or study things on psychology? Is that part of your development as a coach?
I read whatever's out there when it comes to the mental game, whatever I can do to help. And one of the best advice I got, to be honest with, was from Coach Kill. And he told me, have your kids meditate. And I think that helped them a lot, to be honest. I know that not all of them do, but I think some of them do it. And I think that can help them a lot, just meditating. And yeah, he told me, because I'm all about, I'll go to anybody with advice, that has good advice, because I want to win, and I'll take whatever information I can from anybody that's been successful and try to use it on my team. So yeah, I mean, that was one of the biggest things that I think that helped our team was doing some meditation and just, and another thing I had them do and that Diane even talked about was just playing the golf course in your mind before you go to sleep, because then you wake up, you feel like you've already played it. So there's just so many things, but like I told you before, every kid's different. So each kid, to be honest with you, like I have to prepare differently. You know, the ones that might be a little bit more emotional, so I have to maybe say a few things different or help prepare them in a different way than I do a kid that's just ready to, go and nothing bothers them at all on the golf course. So it just depends on the kid, to be honest. I mean, like you said, a psychologist is kind of what you have to be a little bit for each kid. And I think that's a little bit with every sport. Every kid learns a little different, I guess. But for sure, in golf, I mean, you really got to be able to understand each kid's game and each kid's, mental side of the game. So, and I think, again, that was something that helped us out for that championship, is that we all were in tune with how we needed to get there mentally.
How did your players first respond when you brought the idea of meditation to them?
I think they were okay with it. I think some did, some didn't. And then when I kept bringing it up, and finally, I think some of them started doing it and realized that, okay, yeah, I guess that kind of helps relax you, doesn't it? I'm like, yeah, it sure does. So, I just don't think they knew enough about it, to be honest. And that's where they need to read. And we also too, we have mental game sessions where, we don't practice. We'll just meet and we will talk about how we feel on the golf course and why we feel that way on the golf course and what can we prevent from getting that way. But anyways, it's just getting the kids prepared mentally. And I think I'm a very, very firm believer in that more than anything is the short game and the mental side of the game, getting that in check.
We may have to have you on again. I feel like I could talk about the mental side of this for a long time. I'm really fascinated.
I can too. Believe me. I mean, I could go through each kid and we could talk about all of it. And even my side of the mental game, my goodness. So, no, I'm with you on that.
We'll have to do something during the spring. Have you back on?
Absolutely.
But you brought up Coach Kill before and some of the advice that he gave you. He was the AD when you got hired. What do you remember about the phone call from Coach Kill offering you the job?
Oh man, it was a great one. He just basically called me and said, well, you got the job, kiddo. So it was just, how he is with that voice and that excitement out of his voice. And I was already excited. It was just it was a cool feeling, not only to get the call, but to get the call from Coach Kill. I've always liked Coach Kill since, he's coached at Southern and on. And he's one I've always looked up to too, just being successful. And I feel like my experience getting hired was one of the coolest because it was from Coach Kill. So, it was awesome.
Did you take a moment to enjoy it and celebrate it that day? Or was
I just kind of, I was in my car and just kind of sat there for a minute. And I'm like, Coach Kill just called me and hired me as a women's golf coach. I'm like, awesome. You know what I mean? Like it just kept replaying in my mind as I was driving, and it was kind of numb at first and then finally just hit hard. And I was just like, this is what I've always wanted. So I couldn't be any happier. And it was just a great experience to get that phone call from him.
Now that you're in it and you've got a couple years under your belt being a head coach, what's something that's part of your daily routine that you do to try to get better on a daily basis?
I do some reading. And I'll be honest with you, one of the biggest things I do is me and my assistant, Denny Courtcamp, we talk every day about what we can do better for our kids. And he is one of the best assistant coaches ever. And he has so many good ideas, and we bounce ideas back and back. He reads stuff on Golf Digest, and, I'll read some stuff here and there, and we'll come together with a plan. And it's daily. Like we talk daily about different techniques, different things that we could do for the kids. different technology, in the golf clubs and what, maybe this kid needs and this kid, that kid needs. But yeah, I mean, we prepare every day. And after season was, canceled, we still prepared. Like, okay, we're preparing for next season. But it's every single day that we're talking about what we're going to do for each kid to get them to be the best player they can be.
Yeah, you brought up this time, and I think a lot of people throughout the country could relate to this, that maybe there's a little bit of weariness during the pandemic.
Yeah.
We don't know when sports are going to come back. Some people don't know when they're going back to work. How do you fight that and still improve even when this whole thing's going on?
I'll be honest with you. I try not to think about it, even though it's hard not to. I really just try to think about the positive side of being hopeful that it is going to happen. And if it doesn't, then we'll just have to move on and move forward. And hopefully we can play in the spring and just continue to do what we can do. But I feel like golf is just so much different than a lot of sports. I feel like you can easily social distance in golf. Obviously it's going to be the travel that's going to be a little bit hard. You can't be 6 feet apart in a van. So I don't know if that's 2 vans or, there's a lot of things to think about. The biggest thing is I'm just going to try to be as hopeful as possible that we can have a season and that we can be successful and go out there and win another championship, because I'm very confident in this team and I think they're confident with me, and I think we can do it again.
Yeah. No, I hope you guys get that shot. I hope we can all be back at it here soon, but I feel like we just kind of scratched the surface here. I do think we're going to have you on again.
Hey, that's fine. You just let me know when.
Do a 40-minute mental game podcast.
Hey, we could just let me write my notes first, because then I might have you on here for an hour.
Hey, I'm fine with it.
We can do that.
Well, hey, stay safe out there, and thanks for doing it.
All right. Thanks, Connor.